Okay, I'm just getting all set up here. Okay, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. Why is that so dark? Oh, I've got to charge my light. Sorry. I was wondering why that's so dark. Oh, well, I'm not going to worry about it. Charge. Desk light. Okay, just waiting for everyone to turn up. Yeah, I'm really dark. Just a sec. It's a bit better. Okay. Hello. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. Oh, I haven't been here for a while. Been super busy. Okay, I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. While we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. Starting to feel like fall. Just opening up my kombucha. I don't know why, but whenever I drink it, I don't know if you're into kombucha, but I have one every day usually. And in the morning, I can drink it just fine. But if I have one at night, it just stings. It's so sour. I don't know why. Why is it so much harder to drink at night? I love it in the morning. Okay, so where are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So where are you from? I haven't done a live, I don't think, since last Thursday. I'm just really busy. So, okay, so where are you from? Oh, and are you new? Is this your first live? I've been doing lives. I did them every day for 2 years. In the last, I'd say 6 months, I do them maybe 4 or 5 times a week now. Okay. Oh, we got enough people. Let's get going. Anyway, my name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go in the link, hi, Nashville. If you go in the link above, you can see my free behavior board, hi, California. My mini toddler courses, hi, Arkansas, Arizona, sorry. My mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses, I have 2 of them. One for toddlers, one for older kids. My light's all weird. And you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but I hopefully will get to that this week. So it's a bit better. My daughter and I have Montana, Los Angeles. Welcome. Just have it in my head. Montana, cattle ranches, mountains. Just have it in my head like that. No, you had it the first time. Arkansas. Is Arizona AZ? Sorry about that. Connecticut? Middleton, Idaho. Why did I think? Arizona's AZ, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I'm usually pretty good at that. Australia. Hi, that's where I raised my kids. My son was born in Sydney. My daughter was born in Brisbane. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. I'll do the best I can. Brookport, Illinois. Never heard of Brookport before. Oh, this was funny. My daughter and I were filming, the podcasts, and we've got 6 of them done now. And so we're just going to be releasing them. I don't know when. It's all up to my daughter. She does all this stuff. Anyway, we were filming, and someone was from the United Kingdom. So my daughter reads it out, and she goes, "Oh, so-and-so from the United K." So it was all we could do to not start giggling. And it's never good when you just it always sounds like you've got some inside joke and no one else is included. But boy, it was hard not to giggle. From the United K. Anyway, he had to be there, I guess. Not that funny. Okay, Brisbane, Australia. Excellent. Hi, Brisbane. Or Brizzy. Yeah, we lived there for almost 20 years. And we lived in Arana Hills, which is near Ferny Grove, which is at the end of the train station. In the northwestern suburbs. Boston, Wisconsin. Calgary, Alberta. Says, this is Dana. Love your parenting style. Thanks for the no bull crap parenting. You remind me of my mom. Miss her every day. Sorry about that. Especially going through parenting without her. Yeah, that's rough, isn't it? Sorry about that. I lost my mom 8 years ago, but I was 55. So different. And I was living in Australia when my kids were little, so she missed out on that. But anyway, we moved back here to see her in the final years. So that was good. But yeah, you miss nothing like a mom. Anyway. Okay, Chicago, Texas on YouTube. So welcome everyone. I'm just waiting for your questions now. We'll get going. As I said, my daughter and I have finished 6 podcasts now, and I'm just waiting. She's going to release them when she's ready. It's a matter of having them published and all that stuff. So we're working on all that. She's working on all that. But anyway, so yeah, we had a blast doing it because we do it together. So much fun. Woo, that's sour. Whenever I drink that at night. Oh, okay. Someone said lasted for 45 minutes today, then he passed out. What? Lasted what? Tantruming? Doing what? Just started throwing a tantrum at nap time. 45 minutes. I've heard of a lot longer than that. It's exhausting having a tantrum. By the way, kids, toddlers, and usually when they're tantruming, they're toddlers for the most part. They're just coming out of the baby phase, and babies cry. That's their form of communication. So they're coming out of that. So their tears and their crying is nothing like when we cry. It doesn't have the emotional impact on them that it does on us. Okay, so don't overreact thinking that they're being damaged. They're okay. They'll survive it. You might not, but they will. Okay, how to stop the lollygagging during nightly bathroom routine. So the bedtime routine, you might want to check out my bedtime battles course. It's a whole course on, how you get them to bed. It's in 2 parts: how to get them in bed and then how to keep them there. It's a whole process. But yeah, you got to have a system. Use timers. You got to have systems, and there's consequences if they don't follow the systems. So you got to be organized. A lot of people just expect their kids to know what to do, and if they don't have a system in place, how do they know it? There's no direction really. You got to have like operations manuals for stuff like this. So kids are much, much better when they know the rules, when they know what's expected of them. It's like school. School runs like clockwork. Literally, it's this certain time. They know it's lunchtime, and they never argue that. Why do they not argue when it's recess, when it's lunch, when it's school? Because they understand that's just a rule. So set stuff like that up at home. Like bedtime is a good thing to do that with, especially bedtime. Sorry, having a hard time. My daughter and I were fooling around with lights today because we were filming a podcast. So it's all messed up now. Okay, cell phones. How much freedom should a 4th grader have with their first phone? That's too big of a question to answer. It depends on what kind of blocks you have on their phone. They're always going to get around that anyway. And if they can't find something on their phone, their friend's going to probably have an open phone or their older sibling will. There's always a way for them to get to everything. So it's better to arm them with information if you're worried about what they're going to see. But also just have a time limit on it. So you can only have a 4th grader. Let me think. 1, 2, 3. Oh, they're young. They don't need their phone at school, do they? Like you can just limit it. That's awfully young to have a phone. That's really young to have a phone. I would think 12, 13. But anyway, it's kind of a gray area. There's no set, this is the age they should have them. Did you teach in Australia? It's a way to, I never taught. No, never. I don't know anything about teaching. So, but yeah, that's where I raised my kids. So, when we moved back to Canada, because my mother was elderly and ill, that's why we moved back. I never would have left Australia if not for my mom. And so when I moved back here, my kids were 10 and 15. Whoa, what a culture shock for all of us. Schools are very different here. And I was in school every single day in Australia. They really rely on volunteers and help, and they really encourage it. Because in Australia, we know our place, us Australians. I'm half Australian. We know how to sit in the back of the classroom and shut up and not disturb anything. So whereas North America, not so much. They'd probably have more to say. You know what I mean? A parent would have a hard time if they didn't like what the teacher was doing. They'd probably have a hard time sitting back just following orders. But in Australia, it works beautifully. Australians are more amicable that way. They're more likely to sit in the back of the class. So that's why I was told that when I moved here. That's why parents are not allowed in classrooms here. So yeah, I was quite heartbroken. And then I was really glad that I raised my kids in Australia, because I did get to sit in classrooms every day and I loved it. I was supporting the teacher, right? I was just there to look after the challenging kids. And I loved it. I couldn't have done that here. So it is very different. But there's pluses and minuses everywhere. How to help your child not have a bad attitude, 8 years old, when wearing something they think is ugly in their opinion. Very dramatic over little things. For example, orange in a skirt and they don't like that color and now everyone will think she looks ugly. I don't know what's going on there. Is that a behavior thing or has she got some sort of an anxiety around it? Has she been teased about it? I don't know what's behind that. So I would have to do some research into that. I just would. And why is she not telling you? Like, why does she, is it, like, did she choose it? She's 8 years old. Does she get to choose her clothes? I would have an 8-year-old choosing their own clothes. Like, not just to wear that day, but I mean, when I go out shopping. So yeah, I don't know what's behind that. Holy moly. Ooh, that's sour. It's funny. I drink this every day, usually in the morning. It's kombucha, different brands. But at nighttime, I don't know why. It just hits me like sour. It doesn't hit me like that in the morning. Okay, this is Keely. Sorry. Screamed his head off. I just let him go. Good for you. He'll learn. He'll learn. You're right there. They'll survive. He ended up throwing up because he was crying so hard. Yeah, it's sometimes there's things you can do, but overall, my general advice with that is just let them throw up, let them get it out of their system. You know, I know it's ugly, but you can't necessarily stop that anyway. So yeah, it's a tough one. New Zealand, love your advice. Being a new grandma, I'm learning all over again. I'm just entered the file your nail stage. File your nails. Yeah, I'm a new grandmother too, 8 months old. Not me, the baby. And but yeah, they're doing a great job. I think my son with his little girl, and he's admitted it, he'll be the one to give in. So I can just see it. But the mom, she's fantastic. She'll keep things sorted out. And but yeah, she's darling. I just love being a grandma. But it's not as good as being a parent. No way. You love them the same, but I have to hand her back. Like the other day, I was taking her out for a walk in the stroller, and I thought, you know, if I keep going, could they really find me? Okay, if you're watching, I wouldn't steal her, but you get the idea. It's like almost renting a kid. It's someone else's kid. It's not yours. I loved mothering. Loved it. I don't want to hand her back. Not to say that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it was more fun parenting because they were all mine. I got to keep them. But I love her the same. It's bizarre. They're born and it's just like your own. You just fall in love with them instantly. Yeah, file your nails stage. That's some parents say that they filed their nails down to the nub. So I say just do air filing then, like air guitar. Okay, Kingston, Ontario. I've never been there. Actually, I'll admit, I never go. I hardly ever travel. I obviously don't like traveling. I just got to say that. I obviously don't like it, or else I'd do it. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I love where I live. Like I guess I've done a lot of traveling in my life, and I'm just kind of over it. Maybe one day I'll pick it up again. Anyway, but when I do travel, I never tend to go in Canada. I always go somewhere else. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I never seem to. When I grew up, we did a lot of driving across Canada. That was fun. Question. Am I ruining my 9 and 11-year-old girls by co-sleeping? They have their own rooms but want to be with me. Okay, I have no opinion on co-sleeping. What's the other one? Homeschooling, Montessori. What's the other one? Oh, breastfeeding till they're up and running around and, you know what I mean, older. Those are gray areas. In other words, if you're comfortable with it, that's fine. You know, I really don't have an opinion on religion. It's all stuff, it's personal opinions. So, and I don't tend to share my personal opinions. I only share what I have a lot of confidence in my parenting advice. Not to say it's the only advice out there, but I have a lot of confidence that what I teach works. But this gray area stuff, I don't tend to comment on it. So co-sleeping, if you're all happy doing it, then I don't have a comment on it. I wouldn't want to do it, but if you enjoy it, then that's your, you know, it's up to you. There's no right and wrong with that. Meltdowns and tantrums are not the same. Yeah, I call them the same. You can call them whatever you want. Meltdown, scenes, fits, and tantrums, I group in the same thing. It's a loss of emotional control and not getting their own way. That's the way I put it. So yeah, say whatever you want. but it's my life, so I can say whatever I want to. Okay. Okay, this one comes up a lot. I'm just trying to mix up the questions. I don't answer everything in order. I try and mix up ages and different questions, right? What do you do with a 9-year-old that breaks their rule on the behavior board that they already, and then they have media blackout and they keep breaking the rule? You would just say, well, that's why you've got media blackout. It's going to be one hell of a ride for that 24 hours, but that's okay. Chances are they're not going to do it again. But they know they've got a free ride for that 24 hours. You don't double it up or anything. That's 48 hours now, 36, whatever. Don't do that. Just say, well, that's why you've got media blackout. Right? They'll eventually learn. It's a rough 24 hours, but you got to be willing to go through this stuff. If you're not willing to go through the fit scenes, meltdowns, tantrums, and all the back talk and the attitude, if you're not willing to let that just roll off your back, they're winning. Don't react to it. So I'm going to take another sour sip of this. Oh, dreading it. That wasn't so bad. Oh. Delayed reaction. Woo. Oh, that's sour. Why is that one so sour? Anyway, this is from Catherine. Thank you for making me a better Grammy than Mom. Oh, Grammy. I haven't thought of that one. My granddaughter's only 8 months old, so I don't know what I'm going to be. It's whatever she calls me. Grammy. That's cute. I like that. I figured grandma. I love going to my daughter's school every week, Melbourne. Yeah, I'm really glad I raised my kids in Australia because I was in those classrooms every single day. Not always my kids' classrooms, but I was there supporting teachers, and I loved it. And yeah, it's not done over here at all. Yeah, kombucha is great. I seem to have a problem with it at night though. Why is that? Why is it? It doesn't bother me at all. I drink it every morning, and then sometimes at night too. And it really bothers me at night. Just sour. Oh, that one wasn't too bad. Oops. 6-year-old just constantly refuses to eat dinner, then wants a snack, then loses his mind when I say no. Okay, you've trained him. There's no way a 6-year-old would be doing that if they didn't get a snack after not eating dinner at some point. So you just have to, I would say from now on, we messed up. We gave you snacks before, after dinner. Now you're getting nothing. You can go to bed hungry. I've never heard of a child actually passing away as a result of missing a meal. So at nighttime, that's your call. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, there's no way they would get a snack if they didn't eat dinner. I just introduced dinner. So you're still hungry? Oh, I kept your dinner here in the fridge. Here you go. Yeah. But also, I don't like feeding kids things that they don't like. So I catered to my kids' taste buds, but I'm a real health food nut and I made everything from scratch. So I was very good at hiding healthy stuff in all the food I made. I definitely catered to their taste buds, but they didn't always love what I made, but they knew that, if they didn't need it, there was no snack waiting. So yeah, they've trained you to do that. Crying it out is awful. Shame on you. Oh, sorry. I don't get a lot of negative stuff anymore. So when I do, I quite enjoy it because I figure I'm shaking things up. I'm okay with that. Okay. Oh, I got to tell this story again. What time is it? It's a funny one. 2.5 years ago, I went on TikTok just out of the blue. Was not really on social media much before that. And I blew up overnight, like fast. I think I got 500,000 followers in 6 months. So anyway, do you know how that happened? I came on, I'm different. I know that. I came on here and I shook things up. Evidently, some other people were telling me this. Because I never look at what anyone else is doing, ever. I don't know any other coaches, anyone else who teaches parenting, nothing. I've never read a book on it, nothing. So I stay out of that. I stay in my lane because I'm experience-based, right? Anyway, I couldn't figure out why I would get these huge jumps in subscribers or followers. So it turns out my competitors, some of them, were doing what they call duet videos. They were taking one of my videos and then they were doing a duet and they kept pausing it. And then they'd insult everything I was saying. They just knocked me down. And then their followers, because they had some of them are really big, evidently. I've never seen them, but some of them are really big. They have huge followers. Anyway, their followers were coming over and following me. Every time they do a duet video, my subscribers would skyrocket. And then finally I started feeling guilty about this because they didn't seem to know what they were doing. So on lives, I started talking about it. Darned if those duet videos didn't stop. Why are they so interested in what I'm saying? There's room for all of us. All of us. That was so funny though. But that's who grew my channel. It was my competition, evidently. I don't know who any of them are, but that's what I was told. I thought that was hilarious. Okay. I love instant karma because I teach accountability basically. So that to me was karma. I love stuff like that. And also, if you put negative stuff out, it's going to come slap you in the face eventually. Maybe not right away, maybe not today, but a year from now, maybe. I really believe in that. What you put out, you get back. I've been around for a long time and I've seen it. Okay, how to stop, oh, sorry. Okay, how do I get my 5-year and 4-year-old to stop interrupting when I'm talking to another adult, trying to teach them manners? They don't learn through you telling them not to interrupt. They learn through consequences. Say, the next time you interrupt me, there'll be a consequence. Check out the behavior board and put down no interrupting. But have it like a rule. They have to be able to interrupt sometimes, like if you're talking to your spouse or whatever, and they need something. But if you're talking to a friend, and you can even say ahead of time, there'll be no interrupting while I'm talking on the phone or whatever. So put it on the behavior board. The behavior board's completely free. You can check out the link above and put down no interrupting. And then there's a consequence. They learn through consequences. They don't learn just from being told something. None of us do. Don't speed. Would that ever stop us from speeding? If we'd never get a ticket, if someone just said to us, don't speed, think about it. We all are kept in line by consequences, all of us. So why not kids? Anyway, I got to go over to, where am I going? Instagram now. And I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where I save all my lives. And my daughter and I finished filming our 6th podcast today, and it's all up to her. She's looking into publishing and all that, whatever. It's a lot of stuff to do, evidently. So I don't know when she's going to put it out, but we'll be announcing that. But we did do on Instagram, we did a little video. We'd really like your questions coming up. We're going to be discussing specific things that we want your questions on. So that's all on Instagram. Anyway, thanks so much for watching me. Check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, one for toddlers, one for older kids, or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but I'll get to eventually. Thanks for watching. Happy parenting. Sorry, YouTube, I'll get to your questions now. I'm just going to get set up on Instagram. Done. Okay. How to know when to give reassurance versus moving on with the task when almost 3-year-old is going through separation challenges with mom. I would have too many questions around that one. Moving on with the task when an almost 3-year-old is going through separation challenges with mom. You mean, who are you? Like, I don't quite understand the dynamic there. I'd have to maybe give you a bit more context around that one. Hello from Indiana. Hi, Indiana. Okay. Welcome to my live. Oh, Instagram. Everyone turns up like that fast. Did you see the video? I don't know if my daughter posted it, but we did a video today. She hates being in front of the camera, whereas I love it. But yeah, so she actually was doing a video with me. You'll see it. It's in one of my stories or something. I don't know where it is. I don't understand social media. She does all that. But anyway, so we're going to be asking for questions for our podcast. We've got 6 of them all done now. So we're just waiting to, publishing and all that. We have to get all that sorted out. So she's doing all that. Anyway, so let's get going with the live. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. And you can check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, one for toddlers, one for older kids. And you can look into coaching. I have a wait list that I'll get to you eventually. Anyway, let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I don't answer them in order because I like to mix them up depending on ages, etc. I do specialize in teen crisis work. But I don't answer crisis questions on here, but I do answer teen questions to the best of my ability on here. Just it's usually more in depth with teenagers, but sometimes people will say, oh, do you answer questions about older kids? Because it's mostly toddler parents on these lives. And yeah, I do. Most of my clients are not parents of toddlers. So I get a lot of that too, but they're not. Because usually when the big stuff starts to happen, they're older kids or teenagers. So my 9-year-old daughter keeps saying she doesn't want to go to school. That's okay. She can say whatever she wants. But I would say, well, lots of things I don't want to do. Like I really don't want to have to go grocery shopping either. But life's like that. It teaches you how to do things you don't want to do so that you can earn the things that you do want to do. I always taught my kids, you got to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do. I remember once my son asked me, he was always the one that questioned stuff, like curious. And he said, Mommy, why do we learn all this stuff that we learn in school? Because he knew he'd never use it. He was a clever little thing. And he says, I don't know if I'd ever use this. And I don't know what it was. It was history. I don't know what it was. And I said, sweetie, you're not going to school to learn what you'll use. You're going to school to learn how to learn. And I said, it's just a skill. And I said, plus it's keeping you out of it's keeping kids out of their parents' hair for 6 hours a day. He went, oh, okay. He laughed that one off. But anyway, yeah, just say those things that we have to do. You don't have to like everything. You still have to learn how to do it. Too often these days, parents are trying to make kids like everything. Like someone actually asked me this, how do we make chores fun? Like, why should they be fun? You mean to tell me that you expect everything that your children are doing to be fun? You're going to raise very lazy, self-entitled children if you have that attitude, because you're trying to make everything fun for them. I didn't do that. I thought there's lots of stuff that's not fun, and I didn't want it to be. When my kids first got part-time jobs, we just discussed this, my daughter and I, today on a podcast we were filming. And she said that when they were 15, I made them go out and get part-time jobs. And I was always praying that they'd have to scrub a public toilet. And it wasn't their jobs, but that there'd be a real mess and they'd have to go in and clean it up. Sure enough, both of them did. And I was celebrating because I thought that's good lessons for life. Interestingly, both my kids are probably overkill with working, but they're both really hard workers. And I credit that. And their dad's a hard worker too. We're all hard workers. So, but yeah, it's like we're willing to do the dirty stuff too, like we're not entitled. So yeah, it was very important to me that they learn how to do the hard stuff. It's a good lesson for life. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I stood up for you on the last post. Such a lost cause with these people. It doesn't bother me at all. It's more likely to bother my daughter. I think it's funny. She'll sometimes read something real snotty that someone said, and I'm laughing because I've always been bully proof. I don't care. You don't know me. It's not personal, right? So, or I'm a threat, which is a good thing. Usually I see it as defensiveness and I'm a threat. And that's okay. You're still watching. A lot of those people keep turning up and criticizing me. And there's someone out there, I can't say who it is because I don't know. My daughter keeps laughing, or she's actually laughing at this one now. And they're lying about my kids. They've got it all wrong. Talk about my 2 sons. I have a son and a daughter. I don't have 2 sons. So it's quite funny. I think this other son that I don't have is in jail or something. They're making up huge lies. Like it's quite funny actually. But then I realize now they're probably mentally unstable, right? So we've never responded to anything. But it's quite funny. Yeah, you get that. It's part of life, right? But if it's someone in my personal life that I care about, if they say something mean, that would upset me. But not, I don't know these people. They have no power over me. Okay. Okay, how do you address a 10-year-old with lack of social skills that has too many classmates that are bullies and he takes things too personal? Work on his self-esteem, do a lot of role playing. Bullying is something that I do role playing with. And how I do it is I play him and then he plays the bully and then you go back and forth. But also when you're doing role playing with bullying, never use the example of what's real. Like just put like a pen in your hair or something and criticize that. Oh, you're so stupid. You got a pen in your hair, or wear a silly hat, or put lipstick on your eyebrows. Oh, lipstick. You know what I mean? Like when you're bullying and you're role playing, don't use something real. Like if the poor kid's getting bullied over having big ears, don't use that in the role playing. Words still hurt, even though they know you're role playing. Anyway, here's what you do. I'll tell you how I learned this. I was in grade 2, and the first and only time I've ever been anyone's ever tried to bully me. I had a mouth on me though. I was raised in a very witty family. So we had, in order to survive, you kind of had to speak up. My mother was very funny. Anyway, so this bully came up to me and my last name was Hanky. And he goes like this. He goes, I was grade 2. He was grade 5. And he goes, Hanky Panky. And I said, I prefer Snot Rag and Boogie Bundle. Oh, well, got to get back to class. And he looked like this. He never came near me again. Anyway, What I had done was I agreed with him, I used humor, and then I gave him an out. I said, oh, well, I got to get back to class. So when you're role playing with kids, you say, if they say, oh, you got huge ears, say the whole family is, our middle name is Dumbo or whatever. Oh, well, what do you got for lunch? You see, you agree with the bully, use humor to lighten the energy, right? And then I use that word energy. I'm not really woozy-foozy with all that stuff, but I don't know if woozy-foozy is a thing. But anyway, you know what I mean. But energy is huge to me. I really pick up on negative energy and positive energy. So, but yeah, it just changes the energy when you use humor. I use humor with a lot of stuff. And then the last one is give them an out, change the subject. If you don't change the subject and give that bully an out where they have some pride, to get out of it, then they're going to keep coming at you. So yeah. I heard to tell the bully that they have something in their teeth to make them feel dumb. You really want to make a bully feel dumb? Not all bullies are going to feel dumb. They're going to come at you with a swing, possibly. So yeah, I would never do that. Never. I get it. I'm very good with words. I could level someone, but I've learned over the years that's not a good idea. It's better just to back off. Silence is golden now in my adulthood. But yeah, you know how you always think, geez, I wish I'd said that or that. I'm usually pretty good at saying things in the moment when someone comes at me. But I've learned it's no good to level someone because they're going to come back at you. Just keep coming back at you. So yeah. And also with kids, physical bullying is something that's up to the adults. I never teach a child to defend themselves physically. The reason is that not all bullies are cowards. Some of them are very good practiced fighters and they can do some real damage. So okay, I had a baby and we also got 2 kittens. You said, I just had a baby 2 months ago and we also just got 2 kittens. She is constantly trying to run it. Well, she's 2 months old. Anyway, if I couldn't stop a child from abusing animals, I would rehome the animals like that. We always had animals and I was very strict with my kids with that. You don't pick up the dog. You don't run past the bird cage and scare them. And so they just learned from a very young age. But if I couldn't have controlled my kids, I would have rehomed those animals. Guaranteed 100%. I'm an animal lover. I would never tolerate any abuse, ever. Okay. Okay. This one, I don't quite know how to answer this, but I'm going to give it a shot. My 3-year-old daughter threw a huge fit, kicking and screaming about wanting to wear a diaper to preschool. We ended up leaving her home. She's scared to make it to the toilet at preschool. I don't know what to do. I would go to the preschool. I would ask them, can I come in so she can use the toilet when it's just us? Like there must be a time first thing in the morning, go super, super early or something. I would do it that way. There's no way I'd keep her home. It's just going to make it worse. So yeah, I wouldn't put a diaper on her either. I would go there and sort that out. You want to be a problem solver with kids. You don't want to give in to this kind of stuff. You want to say, oh, we're going to figure this out. We're going to go there and I'll take you on the toilet. I can remember my daughter started kindy. She was 3 years old and she was a very proud, very ladylike, very just born old, one of those types, just very mature, just was. She had a lot of dignity. And they had open toilets where everyone could see everything. So, and she was just in so much pain because she wouldn't go, but she wouldn't say anything either. And so the teacher let her, she was the only one, they let her go in the teacher's bathroom. Because they said, why won't she won't drink water. It was Australia. She needed to drink water, but she wouldn't drink water or anything all day long. So she didn't have to use the bathroom. She was 3 years old. And I didn't know that was going on. But the teachers brought it up. And then I asked her and she was very proud. And she just said, it's because the toilets are all open. I can't pee in front of all those people. So anyway, but yeah. Okay. Again, I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm going to guess. My 4-year-old won't play independently at home or school. He engages really well with adult-led activities, but not with other kids. we'll have to encourage. Okay. When they're playing with adults usually give in to them. It's usually all their way. It's all catering to them. I would back off on that. I had my kids in a lot of play groups and baby groups when they were little and growing up, so that they learned how to share and all that stuff, and I played with them a lot. But I also had rules. Like, I was sort of in charge. They were in charge of the play a lot, but I would decide when it ended, and I'd say, that's it, scram, you go play on your own. Mom needs some mom time. And they would, because I did play hard with them when I played with them, but then I also stopped it. So it wasn't all like, whenever they wanted. So yeah, it sounds like he's just kind of used to you doing what he wants. And not anyone else is going to do that either, by the way. That's why it's different. A 6-year-old boy who always hits when he is mad. Yeah, I would get the behavior board and it's completely free. Check out the link above and put no hitting. Every time he hits is a consequence. So yeah, it's a learned behavior. He's obviously got away with it. We all learn through consequences. And there's always 2 consequences for the kids. The first one is a positive action. If you can't get them to do that, then you do the negative deprivation, which is like 24-hour media blackout or something like that. Once you've said it, it's happening. So if they won't do the first one, which is usually a chore, and then you say, okay, 24-hour media blackout starts now. Fine, I'll do the chore now. Well, it's too late. Media blackout's already started. You cannot go back on that. They often will do it once they think they can get away with it. You know what I mean? Once you said it, you have to go through with it. Never be afraid of the scene. The scene is where all the lessons are. Ideas of, oh God, do I ever have a good answer for you? Ideas of how and when to introduce adoption. My little girl just turned 3. So she was adopted. Yeah, I was 2 and I can still remember it. I was sitting on a big boulder in our backyard. My mom was gardening. All of a sudden she stopped gardening and she looked at me and she goes, you love your baby, don't you? And I had this little black baby, the doll. And I said, yeah. And I couldn't really talk, but I remember this. I didn't really understand what she was saying, but I can still remember this conversation. And she said, yeah, your baby she doesn't look anything like you. She was adopted, just like you were. You didn't grow, because I think a neighbor was pregnant or something. So I was asking a lot of questions and mom was going to bring it up anyway soon as I could talk. So she said, yeah, babies come out of mommy's tummies, but you didn't come out of my tummy because you were adopted. You were chosen. You were special. So I grew up being adopted was something I was always, proud of. I was always talking about it. I always felt special because I was chosen, right? So yeah, secrets imply shame. The sooner the better. There's no shame in being adopted. I loved it. And the only negative was I didn't know what I was in for as I got older, because even though I have kids, I don't know how I'm going to age. Like, you can get a pretty good idea about how your elders age. So I met someone online through one of those DNA things. It was about 5 or 6 years ago. And I think it was my mom's cousin. So, and they hadn't been in close touch or anything. So I think my mom's passed away. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, so my birth mom, I mean. So anyway, but what I found out was, because I've never looked like anybody in my family because I'm adopted and I'm very different looking from, them all. So, but I have really light green eyes. And she said, oh, that runs in the family. Also, we don't go gray. Because she said, oh, I think I was like in my late 50s. I'm in my 60s now, but I was in my late 50s. And she said, oh, you don't dye your hair, do you? And I said, no. And she goes, oh, you'll never have to, because we don't go gray. So that was fun. Like, I never knew what was coming. And I was confused as to why I wasn't going gray. But she goes, oh, it's just in the DNA. So that was the only negative, really, that, being adopted, is you don't know what's coming. Can be a good thing too, I think. What's your opinion on gentle parenting? I've never looked at it. I'm very careful about that. I've never talked about it, and I never will, because that's not what I teach. And so I'm not going to assess other methods. It would be a total waste of my time. Total waste of my time. Because I teach what I know through my own personal experience. I invented everything I talk about. Like, what I mean is, if I talk about it, it's only because it came from my own personal experience. Yeah. And the only things I talk about are the old-fashioned authority style parent and the newfangled pleaser parent, which the old-fashioned authority parent isn't a bad way to parent, but it does build resentment in the teen years. That's why they rebel. They rebel against authority, right? And the pleaser parent style is where you're trying to make everything easy for them. You're trying to make them happy, you're trying to please them all the time, right? total disaster. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. I don't know what falls under those umbrellas. I am very, very careful. I have no idea who's out there teaching parenting. I've never read a book on parenting, on kids. I only teach what I know through my own personal experience the last 52 years working with kids. That's it. There's a very good reason why I don't look at anything else. Well, and why would I anyway? I'm not like that. I've been asked to go on panels with other parenting coaching, discussing our different methods. I couldn't imagine doing that. Why would I do that? It's like, it's just not me at all. Anyway, I would never answer that. To each his own. But I know there's a lot of people out there that hate me, that are talking bad about me. And you know how that makes me feel? Like, yes, I'm shaking things up. I love it when people talk smack about me. Okay. Okay, just a sec. I'm trying to figure this one out. Oh, you used to, okay. I kind of stuffed up with my 4.5-year-old and used the consequence/timer as a threat. So, you used it as a threat. You never do that. Because a threat is beforehand. And you don't do that. A threat is, okay, just a sec. So now he freaks out and gets upset when I turn on a timer for the consequence. How do I reverse this? Say I messed up in the past. I shouldn't have done it the way I did it. Yeah, just own it. So say, yeah, I did it wrong. Now I'm doing it right. And use a different timer. Just say, and also start doing timers with playtime. So you have a positive association with timers. So say we're going to play hide and seek for 10 minutes. I'm going to put the timer on for 10 minutes. If he freaks out over that, say, well, we can't play if I don't use the timer because I've only got 10 minutes here. So, and then have him set the timer. Get a timer he can set so he feels like more in control of that with the playtime. Okay, been using your sleep course, Bedtime Battles course, it's one of my mini courses for my 2-year-old on day 6 now and still doesn't like going to sleep, waking up in the night. How long does this last? It usually is one really rough night. So I don't know what else is going on. You must, I don't know. If you follow the course to a T and not look at them or talk to them after the first couple of walkbacks to bed, it should work. So I don't know. That is by far the most successful method of everything I teach. I don't know about this past weekend. I forgot to keep track. But the previous 2 weekends, I had 5 families going through it each weekend. And they all went well. So it's just bar none the most successful method of everything I teach. But there is the odd time it doesn't work. That might be you. I don't know what you're doing though. There might be something else you're doing. I don't know. But if you follow it to a T, like really read that. Don't look at him and talk to him when you put him back to bed that 3rd time. You'll know what I mean if you've done the course. So yeah. Oh, I got to move over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of those now, one for toddlers, one for older kids. And you can look into coaching. There's a wait list that I will get to you. And we've got 6 podcasts finished now that are filmed. My daughter's just working on all the publishing and all the back end stuff. So we should be ready to release that soon. And on Instagram here, we just did a video. I don't know when she's going to post that. And we're going to be letting you know the topics that we're going to be discussing on the upcoming podcasts. So, and thanks so much for your previous questions. That's what we're feeding off of on the podcast. We're answering questions. So anyway, thanks so much for that. Just keep your eye out for that, for the stories. Are they called stories? I don't understand how to do all that. Anyway, she keeps saying, no, this is a reel. No, this is a story. No, she actually called something a slide today. Now, what the heck is a slide? Oh my God, I can't handle it. My brain just about exploded. Anyway, I'm going over to TikTok. Happy parenting. Okay. Oh, wow. 14 months old? Katie Cooper, thanks for the chocolate chip reward idea for the potty training. 14-month-old has been doing great in the last week. 14 months? Wow, that's young. Good for you. When they're that young, they might regress later. They might regress a little bit. They could. Maybe not, but they could. Louisiana, it's your first live. Well, welcome. I did them every day for 2 years, and now I do 4 or 5 a week. About 4 or 5 a week. I try to do 4 or 5 a week. I love doing lives. They're my second favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is coaching, because I get the relationship going. I get to know people. I love doing lives. I don't get paid for this. By the way, TikTok doesn't pay anything in Canada. I would be very wealthy if TikTok paid Canadians. TikTok's my biggest channel, my biggest platform. But yeah, Canada, they don't pay us 1 cent for anything. Isn't that interesting? It's one of the few countries in the world that TikTok doesn't pay. That's fine. I'm still here anyway. But yeah, it kind of bugs me when I think about it, because I look at other people who are making, like, they'll get a video that does half as well as one of mine and they'll get $10,000. I get nothing. It's just not fair. Why don't they like us? Why does China hate us? I don't know. There must be some political reason for that. That's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, one for toddlers, one for older kids, and you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but I will get to eventually. And I don't do it first come, first serve, because I have to mix up the ages. Otherwise, I'd go insane. Oh, it's Trudeau, yeah. Which one, his father or this one? I remember as Pierre. Maybe they hated him. I don't know. Yeah, it has to be political. What was I going to say? I was just going to say something. What was I saying? Can't remember. Thought I was on a roll there, but then I saw that Trudeau thing. Okay, and my daughter and I just finished our 6th podcast today, filming them. So they're all ready to go. She's working on all the back end stuff, all the publishing and all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of back end stuff you have to do with podcasts. So she's working on all that, but we're hoping to get it out by September. So who knows exactly when, but she's working on all that. It's interesting because we're doing it together. We're business partners, my daughter and I. She does all the social media marketing and all the planning. She just tells me what to do when I do it. And I do all the parenting stuff. And she does not like being in front of the camera. She's gorgeous, but if I looked like her, I'd love it. But anyway, I love it anyway. But it's funny that we're so different. She loves all the back end stuff. And I love being up front. I love if there's a microphone in a room, I'll probably go over and grab it. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not proud of that, but anyway. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun doing it with her. And so we're just having a blast. We got the giggles today. Thank God we managed to get out of it. What she'd said was, she says, it was someone, I don't know, Irina or something from the United Kingdom. So my daughter says, oh, it's Irina from the United K. So I said, what is it? The United S too for the United States? It was funny. Anyway, we managed to get through that without, because when you're just giggling, it makes it sound like the audience isn't even part of it. So, but we almost lost it there for a while, but we pulled it around. Okay, if the sleep course hasn't been working for my 2-year-old, can I reach out via email for your advice? First of all, the problem is that I don't give additional advice on those courses. If you're following it to a T, yes, you can email me. But go back and look at the course. Is there something that you're missing? Because I have worked really hard on my courses, and I know that they usually work. So I would like you to go back and read the whole thing, because oftentimes people will email me and say, can you answer a question? And I used to say yes. I just don't always have time, right? So and I used to say yes. And then they'd ask me a question, and I looked, and it was right in the course. So if you wouldn't mind, go back and look through the course again and make sure that you're following it to a T, first of all. But if you have something about the course that just doesn't make sense or something, then yes, email me. Any general advice for first-time moms? That's not really, but I will, sort of. I teach leadership. I just made that word up. Evidently, other people are starting to use that now, too, and that's fine. A whole bunch of my stuff is all of a sudden becoming popular with other parenting people, evidently. I don't look at anyone else, but someone told me that. You know what? I'm fine with that. That's the biggest compliment that you can get. It's when someone starts, taking your stuff. So that's the biggest compliment you can get. Okay, so these are my top 3 leadership qualities. Number 1 is you stay calm during the storms. Number 2 is be crazy during the rainbows. And number 3 is become a great listener. I'm going to explain these. The first one is stay calm during the storms. The storms are when they're upset, screaming, whatever, or you're disciplining. Stay calm. It's like a business transaction, no emotions whatsoever. The second one is be crazy during the rainbows. The rainbows are the happy times when you're playing with kids. Do what I used to do. I put underpants on my head and chase the kids around the house. You find your inner toddler, your inner crazy. And number 3, this more applies to 3 to 5-year-olds and up. Become a great listener. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. They will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. Little ones will ask for your advice. I never gave it. My mom never did either. So my mom used to say to me, if I said, Mommy, what should I do? So-and-so was mean to me, whatever. She used to say, I don't know. You're a smart girl. You can figure it out. And I thought I was solving all my own problems. She was there chatting away to me, but I never felt like she was telling me what to do, ever. And I didn't do that with my kids either. I said, well, I don't know. You can figure it out. What do you think you should do? And I'd get them talking and problem solving. Anyway, that's my best advice for generally parenting. Also, to me, a leader is someone who makes kids like themselves. It's not about them liking you. That'll happen anyway. But you want them to like themselves when they're with you. Your goal as a leader is to raise their self-esteem and that they like themselves. When you bring that out in them, when you're the source of them liking themselves and feeling great about themselves, how do you think they're going to treat you? Do they ever give you attitude? I never got any, right through the teen years. My son had a little bit of moody stuff going on, but overall, no back talk. Yeah, think about it though. When someone makes you feel great about yourself, brings out the best in you, how do you treat that person? You're like a mentor. The only other relationship I can think of that is similar to what I teach leadership parenting, that is similar to what I teach is a sports coach. You know, one of those coaches that all the kids love, the parents love. They're fun, but they have rules and they get the best out of kids, and kids love that coach. That's what I teach, leadership. That's leadership. It's not like teaching or anything like that. It's very different from teaching. A huge portion of my clients are teachers, principal, child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs, and they struggle with parenting just like everybody else, because parenting is personal. It's different, and coaching is more personal. The coach sort of becomes like a friend, and as a leader, you want to be like a friend to your kids too, but you're still the leader. How to work through running away. You don't work through it. You just take charge of it. If they're runners, you get a harness and a leash, and you put the harness on them before you go out, and you say, if you run, the leash is good. You're getting the leash. As soon as they start to run, clip, and keep them clipped in for the rest of that outing. So practice with this places you don't really care about going. So yeah, if you really have to get somewhere, don't start doing it then, because it's going to be awkward. So say, we're going to go to the park, and they start running, clip, and then let them have a tantrum, lay on the ground. You might never end up going to the park. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I always think that there's things I want to say outside of, and the problem is that I'm just responding to your questions, but there's always all this other stuff I want to talk about, and I keep forgetting to look at it. This was cute. I don't know why this struck me as so cute. And this little girl, it was on a live, someone asked me, so I actually wrote it down, and I brought this up a few times. This parent had a question. She said, my 8-year-old daughter's a real bully. She's really nasty to other kids. And then, so she's mean to them, bossing them around, whatever, taking stuff off them at school and everywhere else. So she's a real, not a nice person, right? And the mom was very honest about it. And she says, then she comes home crying because no one likes her. And she's just crazy, right? So I said, here's what I would say. I would say, you've got to be likable to be liked. Think about it. Are you likable? Are you nice? So teach her that you've got to be likable to be liked. So I would just say it to her straight, and then I'd teach her how to be likable. Because it's funny, because if that was turned around on her, she would hate herself. And she knows it too. Her self-esteem's in the toilet. That's why she's acting like that. That's her way of getting attention. But yeah. Anyway, the mom said, oh, I never thought of that, because I guess she didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I would risk it. You got to be likable to be liked. You can't just expect it. This entitlement, right? That's entitlement. I always told my kids, when you go out in the world, no one gives a crap about you. You're just a stranger to everybody else. When you come home, you are adored and wallowed in. You are absolutely treasured. But out there in the world, you've got to earn that. You've got to earn what you get from other people. Here, you don't. It's unconditional. For the rest of your life, for the rest of my life, it's unconditional love, but don't expect that anywhere else. I always told them that. You got to earn that. If you want other people to like you, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. You got to be nice. My son was in grade 2, and his teacher called me on her lunch hour. And I was surprised because my kids never got in trouble or anything. And she says, "Oh, you won't believe what he said." She thought it was so cute. She had to phone me on her lunch hour. So she said, because I was always in schools volunteering, so they all knew me there anyway. And she said, she asked him, he was in grade 2. She goes, "Why are you so nice?" And he looked up at her all serious and he goes, "Mommy makes us be nice." Darn rights. That was my job. Yeah. If you could go back, would you have your kids closer, further, or the same amount of time between? Oh, I would do the same, and I'll tell you why. I had, between my kids, I had a miscarriage and I had back surgery. So it wasn't planned that I would have 5 years apart, but it worked out really well because I had 5 years basically just raising my son. We were so close. It was just the two of us all day, and it was wonderful. And then he starts grade 1, then I got another one to focus on. So it worked out being perfect. And then he was just so great with her. He was old enough. He was like her hero. She just idolized him and he thought she was great, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't change it. Plus it dragged out parenting longer, and I love parenting. And because it wasn't rushed or crazy and they were so manageable because there was such a big split in age, I just got to relax and enjoy each child. Do you know what I'm saying? If you have 2 little ones around the same, it's really hard to just relax and enjoy when you've got a newborn and a 2-year-old. It's just harder work. So that's what I planned on doing. But looking back, it was so easy because I had all that time. And by the time my daughter was a toddler, my son was like 6, 7 years old. So he was helping out. I remember one day she was 2. She was a very easy little child. But this one day she was just, she wanted everything. She was under 2. She would have been under 2, like maybe 1.5. So we're out in the backyard. It was just my son and daughter and me. And she was just so demanding. She wanted to go on the swing. Then she wanted to go in the sandbox. And she was just pointing. And my poor son, he was moving her around everywhere. So at the end of that day, he says, "Oh, Mom, what are we going to do with her?" Like as if he's the dad. He didn't have to move her around. He liked helping out with her. It was so cute. What are we going to do with her? He was like exhausted. It's parenting. And now he is a dad. So cute. So yeah, I loved it. I loved watching him be so good with her, like a lead. He wasn't a leader. You don't want that. He was like a hero. So I love that. But there is no perfect split in age. Okay, you're not going to like my answer at all. My 2.5-year-old son cries and keeps apologizing when he is told no. I want to ignore the tantrums, but comfort. Yeah. When they want a hug during or right after a tantrum, that's not a love hug. That's validate the tantrum, validate my emotional loss of control over not getting my own way. That's what that is. So it's not a love hug. You can love them up every other time. I was a very demonstrative mother. I was all over my kids. They had my saliva all over their face. I was always kissing them. So yeah, but if they were having a tantrum, I didn't even know them. They were just, only my son had them. But yeah, if you're doing a good job and they feel love, you can ignore a tantrum. So yeah, you don't need to comfort through that. Allow them to feel the pain of the tantrum so they'll learn how to get themselves out of it. Otherwise, if you're always going into the rescue, they're never going to learn how to control themselves. They're never going to have any self-regulation. If you're always trying to regulate them, they'll never learn self-regulation. That's why both my kids are phenomenal with self-discipline, just phenomenal. And we were analyzing that today. Like, here's the difference. Anyway, I know that if a cookie, let's say me and my 2 kids were all sitting side by side, and they're adults now, but let's say all 3 of us, and you put a cookie in front of each one of us. I don't eat cookies, but I'm a real health food nut. You put an avocado in front of me, and they have cookies or whatever. So you put something delicious in front of each one of us, and then you say to us, you can either eat that now or 30 minutes from now, you'll get 2 of them. I would eat it right away. Both my kids would sit back and wait. They're both really good with delayed gratification. I'm not at all. Obviously, my parents didn't do a very good job with that impulse stuff. But yeah, they're very good with that. They have a lot of self-control. And I know I gave them that. I mean, I taught them you got to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do. So they learn from a very young age. Yeah, you can have all the great things in life, but sure you can go. They'd say, can we go in the pool? Say, sure, as soon as you finished your homework. Oh, okay. And they'd run and do it. That's why I never had to tell them what to do. They learned you got to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do. So then they got, when they were like 3.5 or 4, they wouldn't even ask to do something unless they knew they'd done their chores or homework first. You see, they learned that self-regulation, self-discipline. I never tried to go in and regulate them and help them with that. I made them learn that. They had to learn that. So yeah, don't try and rescue them. They'll never learn anything. Did you buy your children's first cars for them? No. 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 I did not. They never, we live in Vancouver. It's a really great place for transit. So they didn't really need cars. And I drove them around a lot when they were younger. So no, they didn't need cars. What if they say, we'll do it later? Well, fine. Then you can have your cookie later. You see what I mean? If you're going to do that later, then you can get what you want later too. So, yeah. And you'd have to give me a better example. Like I wouldn't do that with everything. I mean, if they want to eat dinner, I'm not going to hold that. You know what I mean? Like, my daughter brought up something today. We were talking, it was quite interesting because we're doing a podcast, right? So she brought up something on the podcast and we were talking about chores. And it was about chores. That was the podcast. So anyways, I was talking about how I never wanted to put my ways on my kids because what I mean by that is I'm very fussy. Like, I mean, very fussy and with housework and I won't go on about it. I'm not OCD, but most people would probably think I am, but I'm not. Like when I entertain, I'm a good host. I'm not fussy. Like I'm the second people leave, the home is clean from top to bottom. Anyway, but when I have people over, I let it go. OCD, you can't do that. So anyway, I never wanted to put that on my kids. Like I just had them do chores to their level. I didn't expect them to clean the way I do. So anyway, my daughter was saying, yeah, you might want to talk about the school clothes versus the home clothes. What she meant by that. They still talk about that. They still talk about this. They're 34 and 29. When they were growing up, when they went to school and when they came home, we didn't have hazmat tents that they had to go through. But if there was a home, like you could buy like a home use hazmat tent, I probably would have bought one. So when they came in that front door, I had to do the alarm, right? So they had to go wash their hands. And even to this day, I would never touch anything in my home without washing my hands first because everything would have a film on it. If I go into someone's house, I can always tell if they don't wash their hands first because everything has a film on it. It's just the way it is. I wash my hands the second I come in. And I hope guests do, but if they don't, I watch what they touch and I clean it afterwards. Okay, I'm nuts, right? Anyway, when my kids came home from school, they had to run and wash their hands and they'd run and they'd go straight into the laundry room, strip down, throw all their dirty school clothes into the hamper, and then they'd go and get in their home clothes. I wouldn't let them sit down or go near anything in my home with school clothes because they were dirty. So yeah, it was like that. If they wore anything outside of my house, they had to come home and change. Oh God. It's amazing that they're not in the psych ward, really. But I never expected them to clean like me because I don't think it's necessary for other people. It's just me. The podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. But yeah, it's not out yet, but it will be hopefully this month. So are you close with both your children? Oh, yes. I adore my children. And my son is a father now. And I think he'll be the pleaser. He's got an 8-month-old little girl. And he's admitted he'll probably be the one to give in. Luckily, his girlfriend is not like that. She's a wonderful mother. I think she's going to be a really good leader. And so, yeah, she'll be the one in charge. And my son will be the one giving in. So it's kind of nice to have that, actually. It's not a bad thing. At all, because I always say, so long as there's one leader in the house, it's all right, because they end up following the leader eventually anyway. Oh, and my daughter and I, My son lives 40 minutes away. That's the only negative. So I don't see as much of them. But my daughter, we're business partners and we live like a 5-minute walk from each other. So we see each other every day. And we're best friends too. So we're very lucky. And also, I'm the front person. It's all my parenting stuff, but she does all the back end stuff, like all the social media marketing and planning for the business. And she only came on full time, I think almost 2 months ago now. She was part-time for about a year and it just took off with her behind the scenes, just doing part-time work. So then she quit her job and now she's working with me full time. So, and we're so lucky. We get along beautifully. I'm a Libra. I don't know what my kids are though. I don't know much about it. We call that inside clothes or outside clothes. Okay, there you go. I'm not the only one. And I know I'm not the only one. So my kids have never heard anything like that before. But yeah, I won't go into it, but I got a bunch of other stuff that's kind of weird too. Yeah, I love cleaning. Okay, I got to get going. I'm going to try and finish my sour kombucha, and I got some work to do, and then I'm going to hit the sack. So, because I get up early, I go to the gym every morning, super early. I'm going to try and go a bit later. I keep saying that, and then I never do. I'm up like twiddling my thumbs because I'm wide awake at 5 a.m. anyway. So, but anyway, so thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. If you want to get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses, I have 2 of them, one for toddlers, one for older kids. Sorry, I live downtown. Or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but I'll get back to you eventually. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Happy parenting. Bye now.